Bonjour Caroline, bonjour à tous. Jagdish, bonjour.
Bonjour Nawaz, Caroline, bonjour, auditeurs et internautes, bonjour également.
C'est donc parti pour une nouvelle séance parlementaire, la private notice question du leader de l'opposition ce matin, axée sur le rapport de l'audit. Jagdish, Xavier-Luc Duval, Envie connaît si pour le projet de Safe City, le directeur de l'audit pas fini accès à un document important et il peut demander au Premier ministre qui ben mesure peut prendre, y compris une action disciplinaire à ce niveau.
Oui, une private notice question axée uniquement sur le projet de Safe City, un projet de 16 milliards de roupies, donc qui le gouvernement mauricien il fait approuver et qui fait mettre en pratique depuis déjà 2 ans. Alors Xavier Duval demande le Premier ministre Pravin Jagnnath, c'est-à-dire le directeur de l'audit finit accès à tout ban document qui est nécessaire pour lui faire ce travail. Mais d'après lui, il peut dire que ça n'a pas de facilité, donc ça n'a pas fini permettre lui de bien mener sa tâche. Et le leader de l'opposition, ou l'est également connaît, si une action disciplinaire pour prendre concernant, c'est-à-dire non délivrance de un document au directeur de l'audit. Et dans ce rapport qui le directeur de l'audit a publié, et mardi dernier, un officiel au Parlement, il dit qu'il a beaucoup de difficultés, un manque de coopération des instances gouvernementales, d'après lui, dans la préparation de ce rapport. Et il dit qu'il y a 46 corps para-étatiques qui pas encore soumettre un bilan financier, leur un total de 145 rapports, et en même temps, il dit concernant le projet de Safe City qu'Xavier Duval peut évoquer au Parlement ce matin, il cite comme un exemple un cas contre la police, il évoque une clause de confidentialité dans un contrat pour restreindre l'accès à des informations. Donc, clause de confidentialité entre la police et Mauritius Telecom dans le projet de Safe City. Et là, nous avons besoin de connaître qui le Premier ministre pour répondre et surtout quel document était maintenant qui fait le directeur de l'audit. Il a une difficulté pour gagner ce rapport-là. Et c'est la tâche de qui exactement c'est-à-dire pour sécuriser ce rapport et en même temps, c'est-à-dire réquisitionner ce rapport pour capable faire projet, c'est-à-dire dans la préparation du rapport de l'audit chaque année.
Nous trouvons, Jagdish, que Xavier Duval peut cibler beaucoup le projet de Safe City. Alors, nous tu poses la question vendredi au ministre de la Santé, Kailesh Jagapal, par rapport à un document qui le directeur de l'audit dit à l'Ipangaye, mais nous tu cause beaucoup plus le Emergency Procurement pour l'achat d'équipements médicaux pendant le confinement. Et là, le ministre Diagatpal dit qu'il y a un dossier au niveau de la commission anticorruption, parce qu'il y a une enquête qui peut faire là.
Oui.
Mais par rapport à Safe City, donc autant qu'il nous connaît, pénal enquête de l'ICAC, le projet Safe City. Et là, le leader de l'opposition peut cibler uniquement le Safe City Project.
Oui, uniquement, surtout, c'est-à-dire qu'il pas concerne une première partie, un premier aspect, quand la question de PNQ qui soumet ce matin, Xavier Duval qui mentionne l'acquisition de équipements médicaux et pendant le confinement COVID-19. Donc là, il fait une retire cet aspect-là pour aller uniquement donc sur ce projet de Safe City. Alors donc qui est-ce qui est besoin directeur de l'audit gagne accès à tout ce document-là ou bien la clause de confidentialité empêche à un représentant, à un directeur, à une compagnie ou au commissaire de police donc soumettre certains de documents. Maintenant, est-ce que c'est le rôle du directeur de l'audit à le ban document lui-même avec l'ICAC, qui si jamais ça ban document-là en possession de l'ICAC, ça c'est au Premier ministre maintenant pour rappel tout ça là au Parlement ce matin.
Et sinon, le leader de l'opposition peut déposer une motion d'urgence, il demande un débat parlementaire, tout un aspect de la COVID-19.
Oui, Xavier Duval, dans une conférence de presse hier, il a annoncé qu'il pour présenter une motion d'urgence, donc dans l'Assemblée nationale, la cause, le pays peut faire face à une crise. Donc, besoin d'un débat d'urgence pour préparer un plan national contre la crise sanitaire. D'après leader de l'opposition, gouvernement pour perdre le contrôle de la situation si PNA un débat bien objectif, bien indépendant et également préparation à un plan national donc pour combattre l'épidémie. Alors l'opposition ou les donne sur l'opinion dans le Parlement, le politique qui peut amener actuellement, et surtout sur le confinement, disposition pour identifier un cas de contamination à travers le contact tracing, également la campagne de vaccination et approvisionnement en vaccins. Et Paul Béranger, leader MMM, et Nando Bouda, député indépendant, donc ex-MSM, il aborde hier dans conférence de presse danger qui vaccin capable manquer l'inquiétude qui est là dans le pays face à l'épidémie et c'est qui pour capable passer après le 1er avril, donc quand nous commencer à rentrer dans un déconfinement partiel. Donc ça, c'est un peu peut-être l'opposition nawaze qui peut propose un peu sa bonne volonté, nous ne connaissons pas, il peut souhaiter un débat critique et totalement critique vis-à-vis du gouvernement, mais c'est une motion d'urgence qui Xavier Duval a l'intention qu'il finit annoncé hier, lui pour présenter en principe au Parlement aujourd'hui.
Oui, et tout ça peut intervenir alors que le pays parle d'un déconfinement partiel à partir de demain 20h. Entre-temps, Jagdish, ben, cas peut continuer d'augmenter. 23 nouveaux cas dans la soirée, 2 nouveaux clusters identifiés donc à Souillac et à Glen Park, Varquois.
Oui, l'hôpital de Souillac.
Mais le gouvernement peut maintenir qu'ils se poilent vers ce déconfinement partiel parce que les autorités peuvent dire qu'ils nous besoin apprendre à vivre avec la COVID. Et il y a aussi la question de vaccination, qui l'opposition parlait lâche prise. Je peux dire qu'il y a suffisamment de vaccins pour qu'ils nous capables d'atteindre l'immunité collective souhaitée.
Oui. Alors, d'après, c'est-à-dire l'opposition, donc sa façon qui peut gérer la campagne de vaccination, je peux exprimer beaucoup de critiques. Et rapidement, d'après Standing Order 11, un député et un droit présente une motion d'urgence, mais il y a la discrétion du speaker pour décider, pour accepter une telle motion.
Voilà, c'est parti pour la séance du jour.
Announcements.
Honourable members, I have a few announcements to make regarding nominations and appointment of members to serve on several sessional select committees following vacancies which have arisen therein. Regarding the Public Accounts Committee, on March 5th, 2021, Honourable Xavier Duval resigned as chairperson thereof. Moreover, Honourable Juman, Honourable Abbas Mahmoud, and Honourable Lutim resigned from the committee on 4th, 24th, and 29th March, respectively. I have today, pursuant to Standing Order 69-2A, appointed Honourable Lutim as chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee. On Monday, 29th March 2021, the Committee of Selection met under my chairmanship and nominated Honourable Amans, Dr. the Honourable Ganga Prasad, and Honourable Nagalingam to serve on the committee. Regarding the House Committee, on 4th March, Honourable Yang Sekian resigned from the House Committee, and the Committee of Selection has, on 29th March, nominated Honourable David in replacement thereof. Regarding the Broadcasting Committee, on 4th March, Dr. The Honorable Ganga Prasad resigned from the Broadcasting Committee, and the Committee of Selection has, on 29 March, nominated Honorable Yang Sikian in replacement thereof. Regarding the Parliamentary Gender Caucus, on 4th March, Honorable Lamans, Honorable David, and Honorable Wuchit resigned from the caucus, and the Committee of Selection has, on 29 March, nominated Honorable Abbas Mahmoud, Honorable Richard Duval, and Honorable Juman to serve on the caucus in replacement thereof. I also have to inform the House that on 3rd March 2021, Honorable Asia Baden, Dr. the Honorable Omia, and Honorable Ramphal resigned from the Parliamentary Committee on the Independent Commission Against Corruption, and the duty of filling these vacancies rests with the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, pursuant to Section 59(2) of the Prevention of Corruption Act. Thank you.
Papers have been laid. Questions?
Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, my question is addressed to the Honourable Prime Minister, Minister of Defence, Home Affairs, External Communications, Minister for Rodrigues, Outer Islands and Territorial Integrity. Whether he will state if he has taken cognizance of the report of the Director of Audit for the year 2019-2020, wherein it is stated that for the Safe City project, access to important documents were denied or delayed, thereby severely affecting and heavily impairing his audit and preventing him from carrying out his duties under the Constitution, and if so, what actions, including disciplinary action, have been taken?
Mr. Speaker, sir, at the very outset, I would like to inform the House that my office received the final version of this private notice question at 10 o'clock this morning. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have indeed taken cognizance of the report of the Director of Audit for the financial year 2019-2020. In regard to the Safe City project, I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that Annex 3 of the lease agreement signed between Mauritius Police Force and Mauritius Telecom makes provision for a mutual non-disclosure agreement at clause 3, which reads as follows, and I quote, "Non-disclosure of proprietary information. Recipient undertakes to retain the proprietary information in strict confidence, not to make any use of such proprietary information other than as stipulated therein, and not to disclose such proprietary information to any third party without the expressed prior written authorization from an officer of the discloser," unquote. In that context, clause 1 states, and I quote, "It is anticipated that either party may from time to time disclose to the other party certain information which the discloser regards as proprietary and or confidential," unquote. Furthermore, proprietary information as defined under clause 2.1 of the same agreement, and I quote, "shall mean without limitation information which is disclosed by the discloser to the recipient related to discloser's technology and or ideas and or know-how and or business operations and or products and or services, and 1. is in written, recorded, graphical, or other tangible form and marked proprietary, confidential, or with a similar legend denoting the discloser's proprietary interest therein, or 2. is in oral form and identified by the discloser as proprietary or confidential at the time of the oral disclosure, with subsequent confirmation in writing or free is of apparent proprietary or confidential nature, unquote. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that at the time when the officers of the National Audit Office met with the officers of the Police Department as part of the audit exercise, a number of queries were raised on various aspects of the Safe City project. They were informed of the nature of the mutual non-disclosure agreement and were provided with information that could be disclosed. Moreover, a copy of the clause 3 of the mutual non-disclosure agreement, which relates to the non-disclosure of proprietary information, was handed over to them. At that time, they did not raise any particular issue on that agreement, as they were satisfied with the replies to their queries. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is worth noting that in the management letter from the National Audit Office, dated 15th of January 2021, on the Safe City project, there is no mention of any issue related to the mutual non-disclosure agreement. In fact, at paragraph 10 of the letter, the National Audit Office acknowledges with satisfaction the cooperation and assistance extended by the Mauritius Police Force to the officers of the National Audit Office. On 10th of February 2021, an exit meeting chaired by the Deputy Commissioner of Police, responsible for the administration, was held with officers of the National Audit Office to discuss issues raised by the Director of Audit for the financial year 2019-2020 for the Police Department. During that meeting, the officers of the National Audit Office drew attention that the lease agreement for the Safe City project was not made available to them. The chairperson explained that it would not be in order to provide a copy of the agreement due to the clause of mutual non-disclosure under the terms and conditions of the agreement, as I stated earlier. The members were informed that the advice of the Attorney General's office would be sought on this matter. Mr. Speaker, sir, in fact, I am advised by the Attorney General's office that the powers of the Director of Audit are set out in section 110(2) of the Constitution as follows, and I quote, 110, Director of Audit, subsection 2, the public accounts of Mauritius and of all courts of law and all authorities and offices of the government shall be audited and reported on by the Director of Audit, and for that purpose, the Director of Audit or any person authorized by him in that behalf shall have access to all books, records, reports, and other documents relating to those accounts. Unquote. The duties and powers of the Director of Audit have been made more explicit in the Finance and Audit Act as follows, and I quote, Section 16, Directors of Audit, Duties of Director of Audit, subsection 1. The Director of Audit shall satisfy himself, A, that all reasonable precautions have been and are taken to safeguard the collection of public money, B, that all laws, directions, or instructions relating to public money have been and are duly observed, C, that all money appropriated or otherwise disbursed is applied to the purpose for which Parliament intended to provide, and that the expenditure conforms to the authority which governs it. D, that adequate directions or instructions exist for the guidance of public officers entrusted with duties and functions connected with finance or storekeeping, and that such directions or instructions have been and are duly observed. and E, that satisfactory management measures have been and are taken to ensure that resources are procured economically and utilized efficiently and effectively. Subsection 1A, the Director of Audit shall carry out performance audit and report the extent to which a ministry, department, or division is applying its resources and carrying out its operations economically, efficiently, and effectively. Subsection 2, the Director of Audit shall not be required to undertake any examination of accounts partaking of the nature of a pre-audit and involving acceptance by him of responsibility which would preclude him from the full...
Honourable Prime Minister, there's no need to read the whole Finance and Audit Act to us. You can 15 or 16, 17, 18, 19 clauses. We know the Finance and Audit Act. If you can just stick to the reply, please.
Already, and I already ruled this is not a point of order. The Minister has...
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am not reading the whole of the Finance and Audit Act. I am referring to sections, and the Honourable Leader of the Opposition should have some patience because he will understand why I am referring to that section, because I will come to it later on. But he jumped the gun and
Please continue.
So I was reading that section, the nature of a pre-audit and involving acceptance by him of responsibility which would preclude him from full criticism of any accounting transactions after those transactions have been duly recorded, unquote. Mr. Speaker, sir, further, of particular relevance is Section 17(1)(d) of the Finance and Audit Act, which provides for the referral to the Attorney General of any question regarding the interpretation of any enactment concerning the powers of the Director of Audit. Section 17(1)(d) provides as follows, and I'm only going to quote that section, powers of Director of Audit. Subsection 1. In the exercise of his duties under this Act, the Director of Audit may, subsection D, lay before the Attorney General a case in writing as to any question regarding the interpretation of any enactment concerning the powers of the Director of Audit or the discharge of his duties, and the Attorney General shall give a written opinion on such case, unquote. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is through the exercise of his powers and duties that the Director of Audit is able to place before the Public Accounts Committee his report so as to enable the committee, pursuant to the National Assembly Standing Order 69-2, to examine the audited accounts showing the appropriation of sums granted by the National Assembly to meet the public expenditure. The Director of Audit appears to have overlooked the need to accordingly seek the advice of the Attorney General's office on whether the constitutional and statutory powers of the Director of Audit in relation to the documents and records pertaining to public expenditure could be validly curtailed by a mutual confidentiality clause in a contract between government department and a contractor. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the light of what I have already stated, the question of disciplinary action does not arise.
Mr. Speaker, may I firstly advise the Prime Minister that we sent the PNQ at 8:30 in the morning, and it was to your office, and it has been substantially unaltered. So I don't understand why it took 1.5 hours, except for withdrawal of 3 words. Mr. Speaker, am I to understand that this confidential agreement was made between the police under the Prime Minister's office and Mauritius Telecom, a company of which the majority of the shares are held by government? Is that the case, that this agreement is between government and a government company, and it has in fact thwarted the right of disclosure even to the supposedly to a director of audit. Isn't there a huge conflict of interest here?
Put your question.
That was the question. Am I to understand that it is a company owned by...
Don't repeat. If you have already put your question, don't lose the time of the chamber. Honorable Prime
Don't
Minister,
mislead me.
Finished? Yes. Well, this is a contract between the Mauritius Police Force and Mauritius Telecom. So, what is the issue? I don't understand what is the issue.
Next
issue,
question.
I'll ask the Honorable Prime Minister, and this is the question, whether he finds it normal that the CEO of Mauritius Telecom is also the special advisor at the Prime Minister's office, and he himself, therefore, advised on the confidentiality clause and included the confidentiality clause in the agreement between a government company and the Prime Minister's office through the police.
Not at all, Mr. Speaker, sir. The confidentiality clause has been put in the contract because there are security reasons which are involved. That is why this confidentiality has been put. And it is not the first time that there is a confidentiality clause in such a contract. I think the Honourable Leader of the Opposition knows when he himself has been in previous government, I think he should remember cases where confidentiality clause or non-disclosure clauses have been included in such agreements.
I always personally avoided this, but I will ask the Prime Minister whether he knows that it is an unprecedented in the history of independent Mauritius that information which by right by the Constitution should be provided to the Director of Audit is denied to him under a so-called confidentiality clause, even where it is between a government company and the government itself. This is the first time, unprecedented. You haven't replied to questions in Parliament, that we know. But the Director of Audit has a constitutional right to information which has been denied. Are you aware that this is unprecedented, Mr. Prime Minister, Honourable Prime Minister?
For the third time, Leader of the Opposition.
Well, I have replied to this question, Mr. Speaker. There is, on the one hand, obviously the duties of the National Audit Office, who has to ascertain, to inquire first of all and ascertain that whatever money is being spent in a correct manner. And in this case, there is, I have mentioned, a non-disclosure agreement which the police force has prevailed itself to say that they cannot give or they cannot communicate the agreement to the audit officer. But they have always been prepared to respond to queries that were submitted to them by the National Audit Office. So the issue is, it is a legal issue. On the one hand, there is this clause, which the police force says that they are bound by it. On the other hand, the audit office wants to get access to those documents. This is the legal issue, and this is why I've said the NAO should have requested for advice in order to see what is the way forward.
My information from the NAO differs considerably from what the Prime Minister has told us in the House, in that I was told that the information was requested as early as September, 6 months ago. Now, Mr. Speaker, will the Prime Minister not agree that there is absolutely no need for the Director of Audit to worry our good friend, Mr. Honourable Manish Gobin, who nobody trusts anymore anyway? He has no need to have access. He has no need to have...
Honourable Leader of the Opposition, I am on my feet. Don't make any comments. Go directly to your question.
Why can't I make comments? Now, Mr. Speaker, the Constitution of Mauritius, Section 110, is crystal clear. You read it yourself, Honourable Prime Minister, that the Director of Audit shall have access to all books, records, and reports. Shall have. So there's no reason, we do not agree, that there's no reason to trouble our good friend, Mr. Honorable Manish Gobin.
You made your point. Let the Prime Minister reply.
Yeah, first of all, let me say, I don't know whether all the opposition members do trust the Honorable Leader of the Opposition. That is another question. But anyway, I have said, well, you want to put another question before I reply?
Leader of the Opposition, help me.
So, Mr. Speaker, sir, look, I have said in my answer, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition is saying 6 months ago they have requested for information. It could be 6 months, it could be even earlier than that. But it is a fact that on the 15th of January, the NAO writes to the Mauritius Police Force and doesn't mention or doesn't make it an issue that there is a non-disclosure agreement which the police force has prevailed itself for not communicating the agreement. And I said in my answer, furthermore, if there was such an issue that they were not able to get information, I said, the police, according to my information, there were meetings with audit officers, questions were being put, queries were being asked, and the police had answered and has communicated as much information as they could. Would the NAO then write to the police at that time, 15th of January, to say that I take this opportunity to thank you and members of your staff for the cooperation and assistance extended to the audit team in the conduct of the audit assignment? It would have said, police force, there is an issue. I am not satisfied because I have not been communicated with the agreement. Now, I will ask the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, have a look at the comments that have been made by the NAO. He says, the constitutionality clauses, again now referring to this legal issue that is not being communicated with the agreement. He says the constitutionality of clauses in contracts that deprives the Director of Audit of access to public records for audit purposes is questionable. He himself is not sure. He's saying it is questionable. That is the reason why, in my answer, I have said there is provision under the Finance and Audit Act. Wherever he is not sure or wherever he is not satisfied that he is not, according to him, getting the required documents, he can request for an advice from the Attorney General's office. And then let me, since I would say it's a bit, let me put it that way, I'm disappointed by the comment of the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, because when we talk about the Attorney General's office, it is the Solicitor General who gives advice, not the Attorney General. You don't know. No. It is the Solicitor General. I tell you it is the Solicitor General who gives advice.
But don't interrupt.
But if you don't know, you don't know. So,
this is 40 times you interpret.
Yeah.
So that is why, Mr. Speaker, sir, I say I'm not here to say whether one is at fault or not. I look at it of course, we do take very seriously comments that have been made by NAO, but in this case, he is questioning whether it is legally in order or not. So he should have sought advice. He would have been provided with advice, and then he would have carried on with his duty as per the advice that would have been tendered.
Is the Prime Minister allowed to repeat answers? Mr. Speaker, I like to tell the Prime Minister this. I like to ask the Prime Minister this. Does he agree that he himself is admitting that it is unprecedented that information has been denied to the Director of Audit because it is necessary to go for legal advice because there is no precedent. For the last 50 years since independence, the Director of Audit, a sacrosanct institution in our democracy, has had access to every single rupee that is spent by government. Does he therefore agree that it is unprecedented by his own saying that we now have to go to the AG, who nobody believes is independent anyway?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I have not, Honourable Leader of the Opposition maybe doesn't understand when I answer. I have never said that it is unprecedented. That is your interpretation. Fine, if you want to interpret it that way. I have said, and probably the memory of the Leader of the Opposition fails, in previous governments in which he has been senior minister, there have been agreements, contracts, which have been signed, whereby there has been confidential clause or non-disclosure clauses. And of course, that could apply at that time and not this time. So I'll leave it for people to judge. And I can give you an example. Again, let me say, I don't see anything as if exceptional or surprising. If the NAO finds himself, as he stated, that it is questionable, the constitutionality, that is, he doesn't know whether, according to the law, he has the powers or what are the powers, you need to get legal advice. And there is nothing sinister. There is nothing wrong in that. We do that every day.
The fact today that we're discussing is not the fact there were disclosure agreements before, but as the Prime Minister seems to agree, that it is the first time that such information is denied to the Director of Audit. As for his point concerning the Attorney General, does the Prime Minister not know that when the Solicitor General writes an opinion...
You're putting two questions.
When the Prime Minister, when the State Law Office, this file is sent to the AG for vetting, and he has the final say. Mr. Speaker, this is my question now. I'm going to ask the Prime Minister whether the denial of the lease agreement, but not just the lease agreement, and we'll come to that in a moment, and also payment documents, were not denied so that we hide the identity of a monsieur, s'il vous plaît, a monsieur Safe City. That is why all this has been done, so that we can...
Leader of the Opposition, help me. You're making insinuations. Don't go along that path. Put your questions directly.
And yes, I maintain the question, and I also see the Prime Minister. He's quoting extensively from a management letter. Will he have the courage to table in this House the management letter from the Director of Audit, for which he has quoted bits and bits of? Table the full letter, please.
I will seek advice, and if need be,
what advice? From the AG?
I don't work like you. Sorry. Now,
next question, no cross-talking.
You quote something, you can't table it? Come on.
Next question.
Leader, no,
you should have asked him to table it.
Next question.
Mr. Speaker, sir.
This is your turn.
Mr. Speaker, sir. He has put a question. I must be able to answer.
There was a question?
Yes, there was. And there were comments also.
Get very cheap hearing aids. I will get you one.
No, please, don't comment. Okay. This is the last time you do that. Passing comments on the chair. You're not a Superman. You're a simple human being.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I would say what a shame when I hear comment that even when the Solicitor General would have given an advice, it would have gone through the hands of the Attorney General, and the Attorney General would have as if corrected this advice. What a shame. This is not the way we worked here, this government. Maybe at the time when you were minister in the former government.
No comments. Next question.
Mr. Speaker, I maintain what I've said about the files going to the AG. Mr. Speaker, we talked about 19 billion rupees of expenditure for which no documents or any small extract have been given to the Director of Audit. The biggest infrastructure project ever done almost in this country. Mr. Speaker, now there were payments made. Why the Director of Audit doesn't know? This is not under any confidentiality agreement. 760 million rupees.
Question.
This is my question. 760 million rupees of money paid to whom we don't know under supposedly this contract because the Director of Audit says there were no documents available. And this I will quote, Mr. Speaker, from his report, page 166, payment vouchers and supporting documents were not produced to the audit office. Now, what confidentiality agreement protected this one so that you could not even give invoices to the Director of Audit? That is my question, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the payment vouchers for Safe City project have been effected, in fact, by the Treasury. The payment vouchers are kept at the Treasury, and the NAO was informed about that. And he obviously can get access to all those payments that were made by the Treasury.
Because the
Last
NAO...
supplementary?
Last one?
Of course.
Are you sure?
Yes. You don't...
Well, I'll stay on this one and I will have a press conference. Because,
You may
Mr.
have
Speaker,
100 questions.
as
Last
regards this
supplementary.
question, the NAO says that the police department is a self-accounting department. Now, you're a lawyer, not an accountant, but you will know that the police commissioner has the duty to keep all the documents, whether or not they are paid elsewhere. Again, Mr. Speaker, are the refusal to provide the 760 million rupees worth of supporting documents to our Director of Audit, who I wish to congratulate officially, is that to hide payments, shady payments made to X, Y, Z? Is that why the payments have not been given, that the information has not been given to our Director of Audit, who is an officer of this Parliament?
No speech.
Well, first of all, on a point of order, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would wish that the Honourable Leader of the Opposition withdraws the allegation that payments have been made through X, Y, and Z. If he has information, he can come and substantiate any information he has.
Information, because information has not been provided. Has not been provided. I would welcome that the Honourable Prime Minister gives me the information. I will then, if he is right, provide all the explanations and apologies required. I am unable, Mr. Speaker, to apologize for information that has been denied.
I am on my feet. There was a point of order. I have to give my ruling, and you're giving my ruling. Allow me to give my ruling. Please. You promised to help me. Help me. There's nothing wrong to withdraw whatever allegation. And you've done it already. I thank you for that. Please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition makes an allegation, and he wants me to prove that the allegation is incorrect. I speak as a lawyer. This is a new principle of law that I'm learning. But anyway, let me answer. He mentioned that the Mauritius Police Force is a self-accounting, what he says? Is a self-accounting. I wrote it somewhere, department. Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, I have said, let me say it again. They have obviously information with regard to payments that have been made. But the payments were made by the Accountant General, by the Treasury. And the original, all the documents are there for the NAO to check. That is why they have referred the NAO to the Accountant General. And there has been no, to me, as I don't have any information to say, I don't have any information to even suggest that the Accountant General has refused to provide the required information.
Time over. Prime Minister.
Voilà, autant pour cette séance de la Private Notice Question axée sur le projet Safe City, un document qui parvient donc être parvenu au directeur de l'audit. Et là, le Premier ministre fait mention d'un lease agreement que Vindia qui n'est pas capable de dévoiler l'information par rapport au projet Safe City. Donc, c'est un lease agreement entre la police et Mauritius Telecom. C'est ce que le Premier ministre fin dire. Alors, il dit que néanmoins, certaines informations finissent dévoilées au bureau de l'audit. Et le Premier ministre cite une lettre qui le directeur de l'audit adresse à la police pour dire qu'il est satisfait et il remercie la police pour sa collaboration. Et dans ce rapport, le directeur de l'audit pas fait référence à sa LACO, à sa lease agreement entre la police et Mauritius Telecom. Et par la suite, le Premier ministre Pravin Jagnat cite clause de la Constitution, section 110.2 de la Constitution, qui cause le rôle, pouvoir et prérogative d'un directeur de l'audit pour gagner accès à l'information. Mais il y a aussi le Finance and Audit Act, section 16.1, qui dit que le directeur de l'audit capable demande un legal advice, l'opinion en écrit du bureau de l'attorney général quand il y a un issue. Donc, l'idée que dans ce cas précis, il y a un issue, c'est l'accord de confidentialité qu'il y a entre la police et Mauritius Telecom, le Safe City, et l'idée qu'à aucun moment, le bureau de l'audit parfine sollicite le bureau de l'attorney général pour gagner l'opinion en écrit ça issue là. Dans la tranche des questions supplémentaires, Xavier Luc Duval demande à Pravin Jagnat est-ce qu'il trouve ça normal qu'il y ait une telle clause de confidentialité entre la police qui tombe sous bureau Premier ministre et une compagnie à côté gouvernement et une action majoritaire. L'idée qui c'est sans précédent, sa qualité clause de confidentialité là, et Pravin Jagnat dire que ce n'est pas nouveau dans le passé également finina une telle clause de confidentialité. Xavier Luc Duval poursuit en disant que c'est sans précédent depuis l'indépendance qui bureau l'audit par gagne l'information. Et Pravin Jagnat, c'est à ce moment qu'il mentionne une lettre du 15 janvier, datée du 15 janvier, que le bureau de l'audit écrit à la force policière et à aucun moment, d'après Pravin Jagnat, dans sa lettre-là, il ne peut être mentionné qui bureau l'audit pas gagne l'information. Alors, le Premier ministre finit aussi faire référence à un commentaire qui le directeur de l'audit fait dans son rapport. Le directeur de l'audit peut dire que la constitutionnalité est questionable. Donc, lui-même, d'après Pravin Jagnat, directeur de l'audit même, pas peut dire c'est un pouvoir qu'il y en a ou qu'il y en a par rapport à sa clause de confidentialité, par rapport à l'information qui n'est pas fin gagner. Donc, ce sont les propres commentaires du directeur de l'audit qu'il peut dire « The constitutionality is questionable ». C'est la raison pour laquelle, d'après le Premier ministre, directeur de l'audit, sous le Finance and Audit Act, Tibizin sollicite un avis légal. Et le Premier ministre précisait que l'avis légal là, ce n'est pas l'attorney général qui donne ça, c'est le solliciteur général qui donne donc un legal advice. Xavier Luc Duval, envie connaît le projet Safe City, c'est un projet de 16 à 19 milliards d'euros, mais qui fait en tranches. Il y a un paiement en tranches qui fait. Xavier Duval, envie connaît la tranche de 760 millions de roupies finit payée à qui? D'après l'idée de l'opposition, bureau l'audit par finger cette information-là, bureau l'audit par connaît. L'idée n'a aucun récit, aucun invoice, aucun payment vouchers, pas fini donné au bureau de l'audit et l'idée qui par connaît comment fin paye et à qui ça n'a fin paye 760 millions de roupies. Le Premier ministre dit qu'il s'amène payment vouchers là, donc à la trésorerie publique et qui bureau l'audit si tu fais demande de tu peux gagner accès. Elisabeth Duval fin faire une insinuation pour dire qu'il y a un paiement obscur qui fin faire, c'est pour ça qu'il peut cacher ça l'information là et finalement donc un point de droit du Premier ministre. Voilà Jagdish. Bottom line, en ce qui s'agit de Safe City Project, l'information pas finie donnée au bureau de l'audit. Elisabeth Duval peut dire qu'un projet de sa l'envergure là, inacceptable, qui bureau de l'audit pas gagne l'information, alors que le Premier ministre peut mettre en avant le lease agreement entre la police et Mauritius Telecom qui dit qu'il n'est pas capable de dévoiler l'information et qui bureau de l'audit qui besoin road and written advice du bureau de l'Attorney General.
Oui, voilà, nous tournons autour de sa question de clause de confidentialité. Et c'est toute la question parce que c'est un gros projet. Il mentionne 16 milliards dans le but de le rapport de l'audit, mais nous également mentionne à un certain moment de 19 milliards de roupies. Et Xavier Duval dit que c'est peut-être le plus grand projet réalisé au niveau du développement du pays, mais seulement sans qu'il exactement ait la transparence et la clarté autour de c'est-à-dire de la clause de l'accord qui finit faire entre la force policière et Mauritius Telecom. Alors, donc nous tournons autour d'une situation que, d'après le Premier ministre, le directeur de l'audit, le bureau de l'audit, dans une situation où il n'a accès à un document, il n'a pas payé, donc, c'est-à-dire, il refuse la clause de confidentialité. Dans ce cas, il est besoin d'aller vers le bureau de l'Attorney General, c'est-à-dire le ministère de la Justice, pour gagner une sorte de guidance, comment pour procéder, qui besoin faire pour gagner accès à sa bande l'information-là, à sa bande document-là. Donc, c'est une bataille légale. Est-ce que le directeur de l'audit est capable maintenant, à partir de là, écrire l'Attorney General? Et le Premier ministre peut dire, c'est pas Manis Gobin, le ministre de la Justice qui donne le guidance, un ruling ou une clarté, un advice, mais c'est le solliciteur général. Et il y a également à l'aide du directeur de l'audit, c'est-à-dire daté du 15 janvier 2021, qui le Premier ministre a cité bien en détail, donc pour dire que le directeur de l'audit indien est satisfait de la coopération et de l'assistance qu'il fait gagner. Mais Xavier Duval peut remettre en question sa lettre-là. Est-ce que Pravin Jagnnath lit tout le contenu et là, les demandes qui publient, c'est-à-dire dépose la lettre en question sur la table de l'Assemblée nationale. En autre mot, il peut insinuer qu'il y a certaines clauses, certaines peut-être phrases qui ne peuvent pas finir par le Premier ministre. Mais Pravin Jagnnath peut dire les besoins gagnent legal advice, c'est-à-dire conseil légal, au cas où, si jamais les besoins déposent une telle lettre sur la table du Parlement. Et ensuite, Pravin Jagnnath dit, comme on rappelle ça, donc Nawaz, d'après le Finance and Audit Act, il y a une provision, donc tout bon paiement faire d'après la trésorerie nationale, c'est-à-dire le Treasurer's Office, et tout ça, bon document-là, capable, disponible, donc capable d'être vérifié. Mais là, il y a sa question de 760 millions de roupies qui finissent payer, c'est-à-dire Xavier Duval, leader de l'opposition, peut demander à qui il fait ce bon paiement-là, et donc, alors que le Premier ministre peut maintenir, c'est le Treasury Office, c'est-à-dire qui est au courant de tout bon paiement, et donc il n'y a aucune question qui est capable peut dire peut refuse c'est-à-dire révéler, refuse dévoiler dans un cas pareil. Voilà donc un petit peu que nous retrouvons avec ce rapport et cet accord, c'est l'agreement qui est là entre Mauritius Telecom et la force policière pour un gros projet de Safe City. C'est nous rappelle, c'est installation d'une caméra de surveillance à travers le pays.
Et là, Jagdish, le problème là-dedans, c'est que depuis qu'on a un projet de 16 milliards de roupies au moins, avec un paiement qui ne finit faire en partie. Et d'un projet de cette envergure-là, bureau l'audit pas payer certaines informations. pour aider ce pas passe correct. Donc, d'un côté, on a bureau l'audit qui, d'après la Constitution, d'après la loi, il a pouvoir pour capable gagner accès à un document et pour faire ce travail pour moi besoin. Et de l'autre côté, on a ça non-disclosure agreement, qui c'est vrai dans le passé également, nous trouvons ça. Là, nous avons un gros problème parce qu'il nous cause public money.
Oui.
Donc, c'est vrai, nous avons l'accord de confidentialité, mais bureau l'audit, il est bien capable de gagner accès à tout un document pour connaître si l'argent public finit utilisé judicieusement. Donc là, nous avons un vrai problème. Et donc, entre la nécessité, l'importance et le devoir, d'après la loi, du bureau de l'audit pour faire ce travail, et de l'autre côté, on a un agreement qui dit qu'il n'est pas capable de donner l'information. Mais là, nous avons un vrai deadlock. Alors, si tu peux demander legal advice, nous ne pas trop connaître qui est solliciteur général, tu peux dire dans ce cas-là, mais nous avons un vrai issue là, Jagdish.
Oui, parce que Xavier Duval, il mentionne ça en passant pour dire que la force policière, c'est une entité nationale. D'abord, c'est pas un accord avec un pays étranger, entre pays et pays, qui n'est pas capable de disclose. Deuxième, Mauritius Telecom, c'est une compagnie que le gouvernement en action majoritaire. Donc, c'est-à-dire deux institutions qui sous contrôle gouvernemental du pays et qui donc, en toute logique, bien capables, c'est-à-dire opérer en toute transparence.
Le problème, c'est que dans le Parlement, on ne peut pas poser question. Le Mauritius Telecom. Maintenant, bureau l'audit n'a pas accès à certaines informations. Mais comment pour faire ce travail de vérification, de monitoring par rapport à public money? C'est un vrai problème là.
Parce que le bureau de l'audit, quand même, il a sa pouvoir constitutionnel pour enquêter, pour guetter, inspecter, vérifier toute bonne dépense que le gouvernement fait, surtout l'argent public, comment on peut dépenser. Dans un cas pareil, deux compagnies, c'est-à-dire la force policière n'est pas tout à fait une compagnie, mais une institution respectée, respectable, donc, qui y opère en toute indépendance, il est vrai, alors que Mauritius Telecom, de l'autre côté, également une compagnie crédible, sérieuse, mais seulement là, quand il s'agit de l'argent public, pour l'avenir surtout. Comment vous faire? Parce qu'il finit la clause de confidentialité entre pays et pays, par exemple, l'affaire Jinfei, peut-être à Galega, alors tout ça là, mais alors beaucoup, peut-être le bureau de l'audit ne peut pas insister là-dessus. Mais comme on dit en Awaz, en ce qu'il s'agit de l'argent public, une grosse dépense de 16 milliards ou 19 milliards, et pour l'avenir, il est certainement nécessaire, nous connaître comment pour opérer. Maintenant, si elle demande le conseil de l'Attorney General, côté sa poété, c'est simplement les capables d'un refus, vous dire voilà, et nous retrouvons dans deadlock.
Voilà.
Ensuite, il y a une nomination, c'est-à-dire le speaker annonce une certaine nomination après la réorganisation de l'opposition. Alors donc, surtout...
C'est Reza Utim qui est président du Public Accounts Committee, avec comme membre Patrice Ormans, Maïnganga Passad et Deven Nagalingam. Par rapport au comité parlementaire de l'ICAC, c'est prérogative de l'opposition pour nommer donc un représentant de l'opposition qui a démissionné.
Oui, alors c'est Xavier Duval donc, qui a besoin de concerter avec un membre de l'opposition parce que c'est 3 membres qui ont démissionné du Parti travailliste et Xavier Duval a besoin donc procède à sa nomination-là. Et le House Committee, c'est le député David qui remplace le député Sikuen.
Voilà, merci Jagdish. Rendez-vous à 13h pour le journal complet avec Dushila Mansingh.